Hello.
It's Monday. Hello.
Yeah, new
Yeah.
show in town.
So,
It's like that.
that's why I thought it was a really good idea when you suggested we talk today. I thought, we keep talking about Monday, but maybe we should do our talks Monday. That's not such a bad idea.
Yeah, because it's always the latest and greatest, the new opening at the theater. Things like this, so they don't give you like sometimes there's previews, like what we post. There's like a little preview or a little leader, a little
Right. When they
teaser.
give you a teaser, right, sure.
Yeah. And so they outdid themselves today with, you know, there's
What
no such
Epstein
person.
list?
Huh?
What Epstein list? There is no such.
Right. Right. What even makes you think there is a person named Epstein for that matter, right?
Yeah,
So,
Randy. What makes you think there's a person named Epstein?
mm-hmm, 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 right.
Or
Uh,
maybe there are 10 clones of this Epstein.
oh, I don't know. He's alive and well in Israel right now, right?
Wonderful. Probably
Yeah.
hanging out at Uri Geller's house, having Mossad parties.
I wonder about that. One of the things, people exist in so many dimensions or intersections, the way I call it. And so an average person, or let's say a person born with about 16 to 18 kind of like connections, dimensions, we say that's their dimensionality in this universe. And then they say somebody dies, well, that means they're basically in zero or one. And they're no longer dimensional, meaning you can interact with them at a physical level. And then you take somebody, if you go into the field and go, well, Epstein's still in 13 dimensions and living in Israel. Why? We could put a location on him. And then, people go, well, that's not true. And I go, well, if you can't di- discern the truth, you can't know the truth. And if you can't discern the truth, you can't find the truth. So now you're left to believe whatever anybody wants to tell you. So that's where we are today.
Right. And that's every single news station. I mean, I had a discussion. It was kind of a one-way discussion. It was a response to an Instagram story. And they were complaining that I never remember which is the right and which is the left, but one side or the other was
Yeah.
pointing their finger at the other side saying fake news, fake flood, and fake something else. And the guy
Right.
was incensed because the way he perceived that was to mean that the people who drowned don't exist, and how dare you, and all the indignant, and like this is the way the other side deals with it. And I said, but you know what? Based on yours and my discussions weekly, it is fake news. It's fake news because the script was written last week or before that to cause a flood here because there is weather manipulation. There are those things. They know how to do that. But that's not
Oh,
what they
yeah.
talk about on the news. So technically the fake weather that was concocted that cost human life, that spiked the cortisol in the collective that was paying attention to that story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh
See,
uh
we had overlapping, like we had the 4th of July when there was supposed to be some sort of domestic terrorist event. And instead we get a
a flood.
rainstorm, a flood. And then that's getting all the attention, right? And all the cortisol, all the, we're all going to die. And then you got to hit me with Epstein this morning. It's like you didn't give enough time for that story to degenerate, right?
I've got Pat
Everybody to get over
Benatar
it.
in my head singing "Hit Me with Your Best Shot." Like that's a song
Right,
right now. Um,
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
it's public perception manipulation. It's all that it's ever been about so that they can continue their nefarious, weird,
yeah.
dare I say, maybe I shouldn't say it's the O word that you said not to say. I mean,
Well, we went from sad. That was the generative motion from the past weekend.
oh, the
Sad.
flood, right? Yeah, make everybody sad.
Now, what do we have today? We have dear old whoever's running this thing, and we're going to introduce mad. Like everybody's mad. Benny Johnson's mad. Everybody's mad. The only people who aren't mad are like Bongino and Cash Patel and who they're not mad at all. They're like, oh, okay, it's a nothing burger, even though they spent the last 2 or 3 years like, oh my God, somebody needs to reveal what's going on here. And of course, the answer is there's nothing going on here. All
Right.
you got to do
It's,
is
it's just,
trust me. Trust me.
well, you know how they say meow you in Hollywood, right? Trust me. That's always the big joke. How do you say in Hollywood? Trust me.
Oh my goodness.
Right. Well, it's a joke for a reason. Um,
Yeah. I mean, Elvis Presley predictive programming. I wrote a letter, gave it to the postman, to Jeffrey Epstein, and it came back to sender, no such address, no such person. Right? Let's see, that's all you need to know. Like 30, 40 years ago, he's telling you what's going to happen. I mean, there's been others since, but that gets into contemporary music. So I don't
well,
know if people are ready.
it makes me want to discuss hmm, so many things. But my takeaway from earlier is people who have been demonized, and I've done my fair share of this and pointed fingers and gone, these fundamentalist, religious, crazy people who are saying it's all demonic.
Well,
Well, but when you unpack the way I'm seeing it and hearing it, because of some things that you've said to me, um, like if everybody could put this in the context of everybody knows what a freeway is, and it has lots of lanes.
mhm.
And if dimensions could be described as lanes on a freeway that's infinite, what you said, it's trying to understand the infinite with something finite. That's never going to happen. So
Right.
just go have fun, go make your own
Right.
movie. So there's that.
I agree with
But
that. It's the problem is like I went through being sad. Okay.
oh, I'm
And
sorry. Did I interrupt your sadness with my
yeah, well, they did
aging time?
because they went from sad to mad. Everybody's mad. You get to be mad over all of it. And then they turn around and have their little dinner tonight, which I was not invited to, by the way.
Again?
I don't know what's going on. So Trump and Netanyahu get to have a little dinner tonight, and what are they throwing out? Hope after there's just been all the sad and mad, and they're throwing in hope, which is so weak compared to the other two. I mean, sad was like at least a 15. I told you they were going to do something like 14 or 15, right? On the emotional scale,
Mm-hmm.
1 to 10. And then we had that. And then this morning, mad, that's only a 4 again. 4 is normal. And then we have hope coming in tonight. For some reason, they think it's hopeful for them two to be together.
When is
Although,
scared coming? Is that next?
now, yeah, that's tonight,
Here-
their little
After the
dinner.
tooth, what did I call it? Two thugs on a rug?
Yeah, dude. Two thugs on the rug, and they switch ties. There's the demonic signaling that you're looking for. Netanyahu has the red tie and Trump has the blue tie. Like, what the heck's that about? Right?
Um,
Trump's supposed to have the, like, somebody clue me in, you
well,
know?
not to mention, my friend in Detroit who's been known to be referred to as Vanilla Dick. He was talking to me today about some other stuff, but then said, "Let me just stop right here and read you a little paragraph." And apparently, uh, Kate Middleton is in charge of some like death to Prince Harry and that woman he married. They're still at it. Like what's that? That's just in case you're not noticing two thugs on a rug, and if you're trying to ignore that, they've filled the space in because the universe hates a vacuum. So you got to put some Family Feud in there, right?
Well, I just think that it's a complete waste of you know how they release a movie for a certain amount of length of time, so it generates the most interest, and then it kind of falls off, and then they bring out another movie or another crime or whatever. And I just don't think they're making good use of their resources. I think they're kind of like the fireworks on the 4th of July. They just keep firing them off one after the other. And pretty soon, all you do is go, ooh,
We're
ah.
back to Alvin and the Chipmunks. Well, me
Yeah,
and history association.
back to Walla Walla Bing Bang.
Well, I had some Walla Bing
See?
Bang out the window. I had to hang up. Remember, you told me go to
Yeah.
sleep, stop working because I finally got the computer working. Guys, I was so excited that I chopped up so many, so many teasers. And then to decompress, I decided to talk to my daughter. And then I kept hearing these awful noises and looking out the window. And literally, I live on the 15th floor. These guys were shooting fireworks out the window in the next
Yeah.
building over. And I thought, what is actually going on? Somebody's gonna,
Yeah.
their hand is gonna go down on 93rd Street. I feel
Yeah.
like with the, it's just so, this never happened.
Yeah.
A decade ago, that wasn't going on.
Yeah. Well, engaging in the intelligence of the human species might be surprising at times. How's that?
Well, I think I was observing the gene pool like you do at Waffle House, but because I live in Manhattan, all I need to do is look out the window to your Waffle.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And and I think that they should allow us to open a Waffle House in New York City,
Maybe
Manhattan.
a rooftop
Yeah.
waffle, because
Oh,
then
oh,
then
oh,
that would
that,
contribute to this. Like the
yeah.
Waffle House, right? That's not a good look for the Waffle House. Maybe we need to wardrobe, makeup.
Yeah.
Where's the FX guy?
That's why we call it the awful Waffle House.
It's okay. I've got some babka brewing in the other room.
Somewhat.
Babka, chocolate babka. Yeah, I decided it was a good idea on a 90-degree day to start baking again. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and how about an awful Waffle House that also has a liquor license now? That is really pushing reality out there. I'm
Well,
telling
I'm sure that happens in Kentucky.
you.
No problem.
I don't, I don't know. I think I've been to a Waffle House in Kentucky. And
Do-
what gets me is it's the same nightlife no matter where you go. Uh, it's it's just one of those fascinating things about society. That's all I can say, right?
I remember getting a call from my kid in Kentucky saying he was working at this liquor house that had a drive-through,
Yeah.
and some of the clientele were interesting. We don't need to go into it, but he too was an observer of the gene pool for a time through that venue.
I I think we need a name for the White House, like Awful Waffle House, you know. I
Well,
don't know what I'll have to make one up pretty soon.
I'm sure you. Why do I feel like I'm gonna get a bunch of texts when we're done? Right? It's our little think tank,
Yeah.
our texty think tank. That was kind of funny. Oof.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So I went off on my tangent and you weren't finished because you had to give hope and then we have to get scared. But if the other thing I said to you on the phone was if that's the case in this whole freeway lane thing and each one represents a dimension and they're infinite, then I said something about the energy, the space being full, I think, and then it led to um oh gosh, where did it go? I said something about then we're squeezed into a dimensional third dimensional, the 3D space is our energy has been sort of squeezed into this somehow. Do you remember
Right.
what I
It,
said? 'Cause I
well, you can't, the language I was given, I was about 19, was a philosophy professor, University of Oklahoma. And he said, your job is to bust bubbles. I mean, just that's it. He said, you're supposed to take whatever knowledge you have, experience you have, and break out of that and break into a bigger bubble. And so you keep making them bigger and bigger and bigger so you can incorporate more consciousness or more life or whatever you want to call it. And it makes perfect sense to me, and it's what I've been doing ever since, is increase the size of your bubble. Well, that means increase the size of your energy field in Chinese medicine and martial arts. So it's the same philosophy that I got in a philosophy course that I got in my martial arts courses, and it makes the most sense. And when you close yourself off by limiting to one religion or one philosophical idea or one political party or whatever, you're only getting a piece of the puzzle. You're not able to incorporate all of it. And so you're self-limiting to your own dimensionality at that point. There's the language. All right.
Interesting.
And
And
yeah. So
I'm listening to you talk and I'm thinking, well, my mom made me speak two languages because she knew that it would keep my mind open. And I'm paralleling
right.
everything that happened to now, like quick, 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 quick. And
Yeah,
it's all
yeah.
right in there.
She's giving you another way to say things, which gives you another perspective, you know.
But if we're
And when you
multidimensional,
say
then
that,
we have multiple perspectives simultaneously. That's been my
yeah,
experience.
and that gives you freedom. It gives you greater options. And and so that's all freedom is just greater options to either express yourself or create or be alive, whatever language. But what is interesting to me is they skipped fear. Like fear was next on the menu. Remember what I
No, they
said?
went
Like,
right to hope.
well, they went to sad at 14, and then they went to mad at a 4, and it's like somewhere out ahead of us is extreme fear, which will be a 14 or 15.
Well, maybe there's
So
a sucker punch coming that we're not expecting.
right. Yeah. So that'll be another Monday. I don't know if
Maybe
next
Wednesday
one
will be
or
the new
2 weeks.
Monday.
2 weeks. Huh?
Maybe Wednesday will be the new Monday this week.
I don't know. I don't understand their system. I'll put it that way. But we're trying. That's what this is about. If we can kind of figure out their system, when we can get ahead of the game and say that, like 2 weeks from now, oh, that's the big fear thing coming on Monday. Y'all be ready, right?
Well, maybe they're not. Would there be a pattern or an algorithm to it that makes it a predictive behavior and at what scale?
Well,
You
the
kind of
stock market kind of gives the best language. They say things like investors today made this decision, and it's absolutely stupid because I used to be a stockbroker and I didn't have one client that ever went along with, oh, I decided because of what I heard today to change my position in stocks and therefore cause the price to go up or down. It just doesn't happen. But what they do is like, if you follow it, the language, like on TV and stuff, they'll tell you, "Oh my God, get your money out of the banks." I've been hearing that for 6 years now. "Oh my God, the dollar's going to collapse." Oh, that's the last 4 years real intense. You see, it's the same thing, that hope fear thing. Okay. And then it's like, well, you need to get ready. I love this one guy. He has been predicting the doom and gloom and the end of the world for the last 9 years, and his audience keeps growing. Okay. So there you go.
Yeah, well, I
And
guess
on
CNN
our
is
side,
doing it for
all
him.
and on our side, all we have is Joel Osteen preaching prosperity for all. Uh,
No. He and Andrew Bustamante have those faces, those cutie pie faces.
yeah.
Joe, right? The two of them.
We don't even get pretty women when we're delivering, hope and prosperity anymore.
No.
It's really sad.
It's,
Bad casting. So,
well, so I'm
I mean, I think they're reaching out of characters. I think they need to invent another Epstein or something. I mean, come on. I'm about tired of that one. That's been going on literally 14 years. So
yeah, well,
it's still,
if you think about how long the Earth has been in here, like that's nothing.
yeah,
You put it in perspective, 14 years is like a nanosecond.
I like it. It's the best show in the world. It's just that I can't. I'm not fond of the repetitiveness of we're all going to die. Okay, it's so
Well, I mean, but
you
that's redundant because
know.
we're all born, and of course we're all gonna die. So I don't know what's the big whoop.
Well,
I mean,
I think people just haven't listened to Saint. Uh, what's his name? John Prime. There's a. Let's see, which song did he write? I don't care if it rains or freezes, as long as I got my plastic Jesus sitting on the dashboard of my car. There
that's
you go.
right.
Right.
That
So when you learn that song, life comes into perspective.
and then you set yourself free as long as you have
And
plastic Jesus.
yeah,
I have
John
this
Prine,
guy.
John Prine.
Maybe
Yeah,
you should stop trying to set him on fire. Maybe he's
yeah,
plastic Jesus.
yeah. I think he should be nominated for a saint. Sainthood.
Or an Academy Award for saying absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Oh no, that's been really good. I've been
But
I've been watching the people. Uh, there's a thing called symbolic logic, and if you listen to a politician and write a plus or minus for every word they say, you'll end up at zero or negative every time. That's the funniest thing in the world.
well, I mean, if you know how to do that kind of math,
Yeah, like plus one, minus one. Yeah, it's difficult, I know. I need to ask my AI. What do you call it? Not assistant, AI. What do you call
your
it?
companion,
I need one of those. I need one of
yeah,
those.
companion.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what that would be like.
Wow, you were talking about interference, and I think I went blank before because I'm getting some. That's just not, I don't stop it. Go away. Go
Yeah.
away. You know, I sent you one of my songs because that's what actresses like to do, and only children, we like to talk about ourselves. Because I was watching some YouTube and this guy was yammering about how the moon was put there and how it could be taken away. And I thought, oh, here, let me take my song called Lunatics and paste the Spotify link as a response just to see if, push anybody's poke 'em.
Yeah. I,
But
I, I think we're waiting on the repo. I don't even know what
oh
to be a
man,
repo. Yeah, repo man of the moon. The moon repo man. I don't know if it's a man, might be a woman.
maybe it has no gender. Maybe it's a worm.
Maybe it's the
Tardigrade.
repo. What if the repo aliens show up and go, "Hey, we want our moon back. See you later." Right?
Well, I don't know. I think if eh, that's not going to happen. More than likely, it would be attachments deciding to detach because they found somebody else to feed off of on some other planet, some other life form that's more beneficial than human beings. I don't know.
There's a great science fiction book, The Man Who Sold the Moon. People should read it.
Maybe somebody should option it and make it into a movie.
Well, what gets me is like, who owns it? If I go up there and plant a flag on it, do I own it? That's what Spain did. They call it colonialization, right?
Is that kind of like
So,
prestidigitation?
yeah. But what if I own the moon? Then what? Do I
Right. And
share
then what do you mean then what? How
it?
about so what?
Yeah.
So what?
Can I charge property taxes? I mean,
Well, you can inflict property taxes on whatever's going on the side that we can't see, because, if we can't see it, then clearly something must be going on. Like it's what they're not talking about. I'm back to thank you for teaching me how to think, Paulette. Like whatever else can be said about that woman. Reading the subtext and
well,
context is a trick, man. It just is.
well, I think the moon's here to stay for a while. You don't have to have nightmares about it leaving you all alone at night.
Oh no, I'd probably be the one to carjack it and leave with it.
That's, that's what I always said when I was in high school. Find me a UFO and I'll hijack it. I'll hotwire the thing. We were really good at that in high school, by the
Or
way.
you? Yeah, I did bad things too. Wow. Why does this not surprise me that we could probably compare notes and have a good laugh?
To be able to strip an engine out of a car in 15 minutes, that was kind of like we'd time it, you know.
Really? That was the way you got your
Yeah,
kicks. Interesting.
yeah. Well, it's just kids
Entertainment.
kids entertaining themselves on a Saturday night. What
That's
can I
right.
say?
Pretty harmless, unless you own the car,
Oh my goodness. And
right?
and then they give us guns and send us to places like Vietnam. Just imagine that.
Well,
We were already we were already gangsters.
the
What
things,
a good one.
what a good time, right? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, fun was had beyond. So anyway, I'm not through with the hope. I mean the sad. I was really sad.
Are you? Well, there are still some missing campers, so you can stay sad.
Yeah, they keep flooding the news on it. It's a
Yeah.
24/7 thing about,
Well, sure. I mean, they found some like 20 feet up in a tree clinging to life.
yeah.
That's good. So maybe they'll find a couple of others who did something, who decided to think out of the box instead of,
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Hmm.
fun. We're having fun now.
Are we, are we having fun? Are we? Are we actually? Okay. So, um, I'm thinking about rethinking the Wall Street Journal article.
Which one?
The one that said stuff about, I mean, the lid's gonna get popped on what the heck is going on. I feel like it's only a matter of time before that happens.
What happens?
People stop getting distracted by the narrative and start paying attention. If enough people pay attention, they can't wet work everybody, can they?
Well, that's why I say if nobody goes to the movie theater, then the movie bombs. Pardon my language in reference to Iran. So,
Well, if the movie actually bombed and people were to stop showing up, what would that look like? Here's a question. Hey Randy,
yes.
I have a question.
What's your question?
If everybody decided either abruptly or like in the L'Oreal commercial, because they told two friends and they told two friends, etc., etc., to stop watching the movie, with what would they fill their linear time and their psychological, emotional space and energy field? What would happen? What would that look like? How would that unfold after we stop watching the movie all together as a collective? What does that look like?
It looks like apathy to begin with. And in other words, they don't want to do nothing. Once you take the TV away, they're still in a state of like dough, we used to call it in 70s, or in California. They're in a state of dough, duh, right?
Mhm.
And then and then you need something like hip hop to come along to get people wound up so that then they can be mad because anger beats apathy. That's the key.
Does it
Like
always
on,
have to go from apathy to anger? Is that a pattern that,
well, anger is the only emotion that'll get you out of apathy. Okay. If you don't believe that somebody's depressed, just sit there and go start poking them, going, "Why are you depressed? Why are you depressed? Why are you depressed? Why don't you quit
start
being
getting
depressed?"
angry? Yeah.
Yeah, what do? They'll eventually go off on you. Why? Because anger overcomes apathy. And and they keep trying to generate anger. Like that was what the LA riots were about recently. That was an anger uh, narrative. And you can only be angry so long before it wears you out. So that's why they had to change that narrative and drop it. And then, the war in Ukraine, remember that one?
Yeah. What?
Yeah, yeah, like what? Huh? Who cares about that one, right?
Right, till they put
Well,
the poo back in Putin next week and scare us
yeah,
all again.
yeah. So they have to kind of cycle it through. We want everybody to know that they're just cycling through their repertoire, kind of like going to the same opera every week. After a while, you start knowing the words to the song. You start memorizing the music, right? It's uh, it's just a sad thing because it's not very filling, we'll call
Does
it.
it
Okay.
surprise you that I heard you go into opera? I knew you were going to say that. Front
Yeah.
loading, front loading. Oh, I'm going to have to start doing that more on purpose just to
Yeah.
practice. If I'm doing it, people, I feel like if you're doing stuff randomly, that's your cue to know that that's your special power and that perhaps,
Yeah. Yeah.
expanding onto that. Like if you always know who it is on the other side of the phone when it rings, oh, I knew it was you, or oh, I was just thinking about you, then maybe that idea can be brought forth into some kind of an unfolding, which allows you to move forward in what people call a shift of consciousness. And there's no time to watch the movie if you're creating. It's
Right.
just
The idea is that you would come into a state of what's called immediacy. In other words, what's around you, who's around you, what you're doing, cooking dinner, being around friends or family, whatever jacks you up the most. Whatever provides the highest emotional content, and that's the thing about all stories. They they provide entertainment. Number one should be they should be educational, and they should be some form of enlightenment. Like you should come out of it with some idea, and that's kind of the program they're running right now with all these programs. And we could sit back and go, turn around to your friends after their little show tonight on the meet at the White House and go, how entertaining was that? Zero. How educational was it? About a -1. Yeah. how enlightening was it? I mean, it doesn't even register. It's not even on the seismic scale. So
Right, which
that's
doesn't
what we.
make their egos happy. So then they have to escalate because they got nobody's attention. That's when they have to start
uh,
doing really crazy
yeah,
stuff.
like I said, they're going to have to come up with something else. And or people start actually paying attention to themselves and each other, and actually things would change, and that's probably the only way they would ever change. They're not going to change by big broad dynamics of making people mad or sad or all this other stuff.
No, I think it's incremental steps and filling in old practices with different practices that extend your awareness instead
Yep.
of constrict it. That's
Yep.
the vocabulary that's coming to me. I mean, not everybody writes songs. Not everybody does dishes and then starts hearing songs, and then stops doing the dishes and then comes in here and whatever. I mean, that's just one of the things that I do, but I know I heard my friend Frank Jacobs say it on his talk with somebody else. I think it's called The Naked Truth, John Nolan. Anyway, um, but when I'm in creation mode or when we're done talking and I go into editing, I the back of my mind isn't running, oh, two thugs on a rug. I wonder what's going to happen with Trump and Netanyahu. I wonder what's going to happen with the girls in the trees and the global warming. There's not space for me to be thinking that
Uh,
consciously or subconsciously. I'm in a flow state.
well, the thing that you should ask yourself every day, how much time did I spend watching the insanity unfold? And how much time did I spend on myself? All right. So we were taught to not be selfish, and yet only by being selfish can we have enough presence and enough energy and enough money to be able to then engage in any of these things where we might make a difference. Okay. So stability and what we call advancement or whatever in life only comes from a position of strength, not from a position of weakness. And all they do on TV and all these stories is show you the weaknesses. Okay. They show you helplessness, and that makes us sad. They show us insanity, and that makes us mad. And they show us Netanyahu and Trump having a $250,000 dinner, and that's supposed to bring us hope.
Well, but it also does weird stuff to people. Like it shows you that if you're sick or if you're a victim, then you get attention.
Mhm.
Right? There's other
That's
subliminal
it.
stuff, and the subliminal messaging is be a victim because then it'll be like, oh, poor baby. And then if I'm, oh, poor baby, then
Yeah.
I can have these people, then you're also somebody who's making a movie that's distracting people. So you're basically a shit starter like by being in
Yeah.
victim mode because you're
Well,
taking their template and using it in your life to then further distract a collective of people who care about you and don't want you to feel like that. And
I laugh because it really wasn't possible when I was a kid in the 50s to be a victim. The reason is if you tried to be a victim, you'd get the hell beat out of
beaten
you.
out of you, exactly. Right?
So,
What's wrong with that
so
guy? Smack him
yeah,
out of
so,
it.
so being a victim was totally like, no, that's not on the page or whatever.
When did
And
that
yet,
come on the
and
menu? When did that show up, do you think? Victim mentality and then the mental illness that then breeds, like being entangled with the concept of anxiety and depression comes
yeah,
from that. So those are the
yeah,
further extensions, and then the big pharma doubles down on that and makes money. So we keep people like that. I mean, it's just
yeah,
so blatant.
right.
If I
I,
can
I
see it,
blame
anybody can.
I blame it on emos and Junko jeans. How's that?
You blame it on emus? What is an emu
Emo,
ever done?
emo. You
Um,
know, The yeah, that was the most fascinating thing I ever saw when I saw those for the first time. It's not the genes, the emos, right? It's like, oh my goodness, right? I may have gotten in trouble in conversation with some of those
You
in
know,
the past.
in the past.
What? Then we elected them all to be our congressmen and senators and our leaders. Okay.
Well, I mean, you want a good Monday morning news? How about luxury condo in Manhattan has contaminants and particulates in the bath and drinking water.
Well,
News
of course they do.
11.
Well, you can't have people leading a good, healthy life without trying to test them at every point with the food in there.
I
Okay.
think the water needs to be tested. That's what needs to be tested because my patience was tested and my coherent response is, oh yeah, well, what's
They,
in my water? And then, you know,
why,
what are you going
why
to do
does
about it?
nobody complain? It's because they hate tests, just like from grade school. They hate taking tests. They don't want to take a test.
That's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was the virus thing where everybody had to take a test.
Oh, putting things
And
up
not
their
only,
noses. My mama told me
yeah, and they
not
got,
to stick anything up my nose, so I didn't. How's that?
I was taught the same thing. And it makes you wonder what other people were taught, right? Or
Yeah.
if they were taught.
Well,
And of course, the answer to that is no. So,
probably not.
yeah.
Probably not. Well, okay, so it hasn't happened in any of our recordings, but you know those remember I keep threatening to talk about my orbs? It goes back into dimensionalities. Like there are energy beings that live in a different dimension in the same physical space we both occupy, and I think we're kind of curious about each other, so they show up when I try to document that. Could you explain that,
Yeah.
please?
Curiosity is how I explain it. But I had a client yesterday, and he showed me a picture of he had an orb on his shoulder,
Hmm.
and uh, and he called me, and I said, "Your shoulder hurt?" He goes, "Yes," and I go, "That's an interfering energy field, okay, that is visible. So most of them are invisible." But if you go in what we call plasma states, like everybody has a plasma body, just it's not very evident to people that can't see it. Like I can see auras or energy fields or whatever. But if you can see a plasma state, then you can recognize your own and others. Okay. So things that have a plasma state are theoretically self-organizing consciousnesses that
Hmm.
are able to express themselves at some level. But the thing about it is that not all of them are integrated with your own human energy field. And in this case, just the interaction had caused pain in his shoulder. So I
Because
got rid
they
of
weren't
that.
calibrated to the same, because they weren't.
Right, but they're not calibrated the same frequencies and stuff. So, but anyway, I got rid of it, and he goes, "My shoulder quit hurting." And I go, "Yeah, because the interaction no longer is present,
So if
either
somebody has
form."
cancer, could that also be the same thing of being some kind of energy interference that's clashing with your body's frequency and causing some kind of dis-ease in the energetic plasmic field?
Well, it's just like certain people, CE5 people, for instance, they're doing summoning. This is black magic, where summoning is a form of magic, a form of demonology, or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Tim Burchett
And
called it that. He didn't like it
and
because,
get,
yeah.
and guess what? Then the UFOs appear, and they never appeared before there were these interactions in the 30s and 40s. But without getting into it, it's just real simple. if those are plasma phenomena, they make sense. And if they're anything else, like it had any solidity to them, then they would truly be a UFO. But even the intelligence agency changed it to what do they call it? Unidentified aerial phenomena. A
Yeah.
phenomenon is something that goes on in your mind. It doesn't have any reality to it. And so all the UFO stuff is basically demonology writ large, basically,
It's
and
interesting that,
involved plasma.
the way
So
they
there,
call it that, though, the words that you just said, they changed it to a phenomenon. Phenomenon occurs
yeah,
in your mind. Mind is
right.
consciousness and awareness and emotions and all that all mixed up. And then I said something about the Akashic records earlier. You said there's no such thing.
Oh,
I said, okay. However, there is such a thing as a story
yeah.
space where all the stories that have ever and you pull from that, and I think the misnomer calling it anything is what's
Okay.
right. So,
Okay. So we call it
people are
the data
conflating.
sphere. Data sphere. Okay. And what that does is through some way, an impression is made on the data sphere that retains that impression. That would be your memories, your language, your interactions, connections, all these things for everybody and everything that exists. Now, to say it's Akashic Records implies that there's some sort of mechanism at work. And there's no mechanism. It's just a function of the universe. And your best thing you can do is to learn to be interactive with it because people like Tesla and maybe even Elon, dear brother Elon, um, they were able to connect to that in a way that allowed them to have information that's not available to anybody else or available to them sooner. Well, that's the same thing if I tap into like, where's Waldo? I mean, what's his name? Epstein, right? Where's Epstein? It's like, it's not just me. Anybody can tap into the field and find him, right? And anybody can check on whether how many dimensions he in or how many acts are left in his play. And you know, when you tap into all that stuff, it's like you're not fooled easily anymore. Okay. And you have this great sense of comfort. You're not alone because you have all this knowledge that's out there that you can play with. And that's what I do every day. So reach out and play in the universe. That's what I tell people.
It's the best advice ever. And don't fear the
Yeah.
unknown. Fear the idiot movie that you keep watching.
Yeah, you're not having fun. You're watching stupid movies that they put a lot of effort into. I will give them that. Right?
All your tax dollars,
Yeah,
you're actually paying for the production, is
yeah,
what I've come to conclude. And I
hmm
think on that note, you guys think about that.
yeah, yeah. It's true.
Don't pay for the production and then show up and pay tickets to get in for something you've already paid for dearly.
Yeah, and then don't complain about the movie. I mean, that you
But
know,
you're
yeah.
creating it.
One of my old younger teachers had never seen a movie. We took him to a movie, and he's like astounded. He would go to the movie every chance he got. He said, the problem I have is that he said people wanted to talk about the movie afterwards, and I couldn't understand why you would do that. So, so now we have the news, and guess what people do now? They want to talk about the movie, right?
And then
It's like
argue about it and
it's
get
a
angry at each
movie,
other.
right?
And
Yeah, it's just a movie, and now you want to talk about it. I mean, I
and
think there was a lot.
weaponize it against your friend.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
Don't forget that.
yeah. Like, like I say, I think if we went just to a rating system, you know, 1 to 10, I think we'd lot have better conversations, you know.
I think our
And
conversation.
we learned it in high school when girls would walk by, and it seemed to be an educational opportunity to engage in, you know, calibrating. things in the world that you were interested in. How's that?
That what they call it? Calibrating. That's just so you, so
Well, yeah, you got to give us some language.
wow. Wow. Okay. That's a much better note on which to leave it. You guys think about
Yeah,
go have fun and calibrate.
yeah, yeah,
Calibrate.
yeah.
Each one
Calibrate,
piece
calibrate,
of
calibrate
ice.
to the music. I think Sly and the Family Stone said that, right?
Well, didn't they also say blood is thicker
Maybe,
than mud?
maybe it was Celebrate. I don't remember. It was
Oh,
Celebrate. There you
oh,
go.
yeah.
Okay, that was big fun. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, calibrate and celebrate and see you next week.
Celebrate, celebrate. That's right. Mm,
Mm.
later.